Hi everyone, and welcome to the Aquarius June 2023 Illumination reading. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot, a place for you to better connect with and illuminate your own personal spiritual importance through better being able in these readings to see what uniquely makes you you. Okay, so hi all my Aquariuses out there. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into your reading. I'm going to start by pulling a card for the energy that you're bringing into the month of June. And right off the bat, we have Judgment that pops out there. That's a very big energy. I'm going to pull some cards to take a look at what Spirit is asking you to grow into by the end of the month. We'll be looking at any challenges or blocks that are coming up. We'll get advice from Spirit. And then we'll look at the blessing that wants to come in for you guys by the end of the month as you grow into the energy that Spirit is asking you to really embrace. So let's go ahead here. Okay. So we have two cards that came out here. We have the Five of Swords, and then we actually have the card that came out face down with the Ten of Wands. This month is really going to show you, we'll dive into that first. This month is asking you to embrace a rebirth. Now, on I'd say a greater cosmic level, for those of you who are aware of what's going on astrologically wise, there definitely is a push for all of us to kind of embrace this judgment-like energy, meaning that we are going through a change in who we are and how we perceive our reality. But for you guys specifically, coming in with judgment, this is the understanding and the awareness that you are different. You have gone through something, a part of who you were or how you saw yourself has died away, has passed on, and you are now coming into the realization of the new you. This is kind of like the butterfly suddenly realizing it is the butterfly, and the caterpillar, its past experience, its past iteration is gone. Now, by the end of the month, what this whole month is kind of teaching you is where you have been carrying a heavy burden for quite some time. Now, it might be a burden that might be even hidden to you because it did come down this card came face down instead of face up, meaning that when we look at our lives, we can say, oh yeah, there's all kinds of burdens we carry, right? We have to maybe go to work every day to pay the bills, or we have to come home and take care of our family, or you name it. But with the Ten of Wands, this speaks to carrying a heavy load all yourself, that you feel like you are the only one. You can see this individual, instead of maybe asking for help or putting some down and taking a few sticks at a time, he's carrying the whole bundle, and he kind of has his head down, and he's just slogging his way to wherever they need to go here in the distance. So there may be something here where you're kind of, with the Five of Swords coming up, this is the kind of it's a combative energy. It's the energy of someone who really doesn't want to see something, doesn't want to admit something to themselves, doesn't want to hear advice from other people around them. And so they kind of just push it away. So there is something here where perhaps there is something that you don't want to see in your current experience that you feel is a heavy burden. And this could be actually on an emotional level. And why do I say that? Because underlying energy is the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is all about having that fulfillment on an emotional level, so much so that you are sitting there in that place of extreme gratitude. It's almost like the being proud of all that you have. But yet there's also that feeling with the Nine of Cups that you want more, that there's that one cup missing to get to the Ten of Cups. Or that this can even be that feeling of simply not being satisfied, that there always needs to be, there's always more that can be had. But with the underlying energy of the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Wands. So this could actually be two different people in your life that embody that, but I also feel like this is kind of two different versions of yourself. So the King of Wands is the energy of someone who leads from what they're passionate about. This is the individual who could be seen as the business owner, the passionate CEO of a company. They could also be seen, harnesses the energy of Leo. This is someone who really leads from the heart as well. They are a courageous individual. But it's an individual who is seen and sits in a place of authority and leadership, and again, leads from that place of passion. With the Knight of Pentacles, and it's interesting with these two individuals, they have their backs kind of turned to each other. There's one person who's kind of sitting on their throne and the other person who wants to move forward. The Knight of Pentacles is that slow, steady, progressive energy. It's the individual who wants to plant the seeds to see a crop grow at the end of the cycle. And there's something here about that kind of slow and steady. I want to do one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. And I think for some of you, there may be a cycle here where you were kind of bound in this cycle, either with someone else, that there's someone in your life who maybe embodied that King of Wands. Maybe this is, again, a Leo figure in your life and you kept wanting to move forward and this person didn't want to, or this is someone who, again, just really follows what they're passionate about and puts your own needs aside. Or this could be actually where you were the business owner and yet couldn't really see the way forward. And so there's something here around I think this cycle coming to an end in some way because you've changed. Because now this is about a cycle that is around gratitude, around emotional fulfillment. And I think that's what's going to allow you, by embracing the change that's coming from within, it's going to allow you to really understand that maybe you were carrying the burden of someone else. Maybe you were carrying the burden of this cycle of trying to make something happen when the other person was reluctant to do that. It could be that you simply thought that you were the only one who could. It can be all kinds of different scenarios here. But I think through the lens of gratitude and through the lens of realizing somehow something very fundamental about you, who you are, has changed, it's going to allow you to almost put down the sword, put down that kind of combative energy, realize what you've been carrying can be put down at this point. It's just not about doing it all alone. This is not about maybe running your own business and feeling like you don't have help, or this isn't about you trying to make plans while someone else in your life maybe doesn't want to. This could even be a work dynamic where this is the boss and you're like, look, okay, let's grow the business, let's do all the things we need to do, and the person's like, no, I'm the authority, I'm the one who is going to do it my way or the highway. And you're like, oh my God, but I'm the one who has to come in every day and do all the work. I'm the one who actually keep having to keep doing all the things. And you're just sitting here not giving me any of that. There can be, that's coming through very strongly here, that someone is not getting the kudos or the pat on the back for all of the work that they've done, maybe to kind of help support the king's empire, whether that is your home environment, whether that is a workplace, or whether that's, you can fill in the blank for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to, this almost feels like finally just letting go of almost like carrying someone else's burden. Like this, a lot of times we can carry our own burdens, right? Where we're sitting there and we're in that place of, well, I'm the one who has to go to work to make my money for my family, or I'm the one who has to get up and take care of the kids and do the laundry and make sure that all the meals are made and that kind of thing. But then there's also the kind of burden that we can carry that we don't realize we're actually carrying it for someone else, meaning that we're the person that is continually, again, maybe you work for someone who doesn't really want to be involved with their business. So you take on that individual's business, the weight of their business on your shoulders. And often it doesn't mean that the person has asked you to do this. Sometimes we just do it for the sake of wanting to be the best employee, or same thing in the home. We take on more than is our fair share of responsibility in the home because we feel that, well, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm helping the other person. And yet instead, you are almost like slogging yourself down or weighing yourself down so that you can't be the best of who you want to be. You can't feel grateful for what you want to, or what you're putting your effort into, because on some level, that other person that you're bearing that heavy burden for is never going to see that you're actually carrying that burden for them, because maybe they haven't asked you to and you've done it just because. Or maybe you've taken on the burden on some level because you wanted recognition. And I hate to say it, but with this kind of dynamic, there's never going to be that recognition. So it's time to put down the burden, and I get the feeling it's time to just start living for you, Aquarius. King of Cups, love it. So this is your main point of challenge for this month. The King of Cups is, it really embodies kind of the loving, paternal, fatherly energy. This is the individual who is strong in their emotions, emotionally mature, leads from their emotions and their intuition. Sometimes the King of Cups can be seen as a spiritual advisor, someone, again, who is very in tune with themselves and in tune kind of with the emotional state of being. But there's something around here with the Ten of Pentacles and the King of Cups coming in. Something around legacy, something around, this could be a family dynamic. And maybe a family dynamic where maybe there's been a lack of emotion, or maybe there has been an unhealthy either fatherly influence or an unhealthy level of detachment from emotions from a paternal energy, or just in general in like, how am I trying to say this? For some reason, I'm having a hard time speaking through your reading here, Aquarius. There's a lot coming through. I think for some of you, there's a lesson going on here about, for some of the other signs I've read for, there's been kind of a lesson about getting and balance their feminine side or their receptive side. For you, Aquarius, this is getting and balance your masculine energy. This is about really understanding the beauty of a strong but emotional fatherly energy. Someone who can lead from that place. They don't lead just from what they love to do or what they're passionate about. They lead from a place that ultimately comes from the heart. They lead from that place of emotional connection. And with the Ten of Pentacles coming in, there could be something where there's been a disconnect around that in the home, or you wanting to go back and experience that in some regard. For a very few of you, this could literally be wanting to create a legacy, maybe create a business, earn money from being a spiritual advisor. That could be something coming through here for just a few key people, and you might be trying to push that away. But I do get the feeling more than anything that there is kind of the block here around what you want to experience ultimately on a physical level of abundance. Again, whether this is like the home and the family and all the money in the bank, or whether this is your ultimate legacy that you want to leave behind. The block is the emotional side to your experience. King of Cups is also a scorpionic energy. So this could actually be a Scorpio in your life that is coming in and maybe helping you to see that there is something not quite right in this dynamic right here. Meaning that there could be a Scorpio coming in who says, hey, you're not... Let me see, how can I put this? This could be like the person who comes into your life who says, why are you working so hard? Your boss doesn't even recognize you or doesn't care that you come in for all those extra hours afterwards. And you're sitting there with the Five of Swords. And here's the Five of Swords again, coming up at the heart of your reading. This is the Five of Swords saying, well, you don't know them. I mean, I've worked for them for 10 years and you just don't understand that this is just the way it is. This is the way the person is. This is our dynamic. But deep down, I know that they appreciate me. And it's like, oh, but do they? Are you carrying a weight that you don't have to? This could also be when somebody comes in, maybe on another aspect of your life. This could be someone who comes in and shows you the dynamic in your own home life that says, hey, do you realize that like how you interact with your family isn't quite right? Or that, something along those lines. Because Scorpios are very deep individuals, and a lot of times they are very, what they can come up with and out with, meaning they can kind of have a sharp scorpionic scorpion-like tongue where they can just get to the truth very quickly. So there's something here around that really is focused, I think, on the home for many of you. but something that ties directly to, again, your level of abundance, the money that you have, whether this is your actual home life or whether this is your work life impacting your home. There's something around this, and something around this King of Cups energy getting in the way. So whether it's an unhealthy father dynamic, whether it's a level of detachment from emotions, or whether this is actually a Scorpio in your life that you just don't want to hear what they have to say. Okay, so then we have the Nine of Wands and the Prince of Wands on the other side here. This is the gift that wants to come in for you guys. The bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Cups again. So double confirmation, this is your true underlying or kind of overarching now energy, is gratitude, is emotional fulfillment, is wanting to get to that place where you realize how much you have to be grateful for. And there's a level of self-appreciation that I think really needs to come through here, of that sometimes we can get so focused on that 10th cup that seems to be just out of reach, that cup that will make everything better. And it's more in the reality, it's more in the realization that, wow, 9 cups is a lot. Yes, we can always want that 10th cup that's going to make things, seem like we've reached heaven on earth. But there's also this point of being very grateful for what you have, who you have in your life, and also all the work that you've done to get to this point. With the Five of Swords coming up at the heart of your reading, along with coming out here, this is what Spirit's asking you really to, this is the advice, to take a look at this energy this month and transmute it. I think there's been a kind of a combative, like hard, no, I don't want to see this, no, I don't want to deal with this, no, I don't want to go there kind of energy. This can even be where you might be looking, and it might be time for you to level up. This could be where you now have to embrace becoming the business owner. You might have to embrace, like, there's something here around the 10 of Pentacles. This is like your ultimate legacy. This is like what you want to work towards to create for yourself, a level of abundance, money, time, things. And there's something here where there's a disconnect. Maybe now you're starting to see that there's more that you want for yourself out there. And with the Nine of Wands and the Prince of Wands coming in on the other side, the Nine of Wands it does state a level of burnout. It's one card away from the 10 of Wands, where you're just like, oh my God, do I really have to keep going? It's almost like where you get to stop, take that pause, put the wands down, and you're like, oh God, but I still have to pick them all up and continue to move forward. On the other side of that, though, is the Prince of Wands. This is making and this could actually be where the Judgment's coming in here for many of you, where there's this change in perspective. You can choose to be the Nine of Wands, or you can choose to be the Prince of Wands, which is technically the Knight of Wands in this deck. The Knights progress situations forward. The Knight of Wands doesn't carry all 9 wands or all 10 wands on the back of his horse. He puts them down and he picks up his one wand, the wand of his passion, the wand of his eternal flame. And he gets on his horse and he goes out to experience what feels good. He goes out to see what he can do with that passion, to see what he can create from his own internal flame. And it's someone who is very focused on fun. It's someone who is ready to go out there and just kind of embrace life from that place of fiery, I'm going to just do what feels good. And I think for many of you, there's this, with the Five of Swords, there's been this kind of like hard stop in your mind of like, I don't want to see something. I don't want to experience something. I don't want to have to take a look and realize that there's something not quite right here. That I'm not stepping up into the King of Cups energy, or there's something in my experience that there's a dynamic here between me and another individual, whether this is you and a spouse, you and a business partner, or a work relationship where there is 2 people who are not on the same page. One person who wants to plan and one person who just wants to sit on the throne and maybe get all the credit. Or that's your perspective. But there is something here where you have the opportunity to finally free yourself from that, to realize with the Nine of Wands how far you've come, to realize how much you have to be grateful for, and to realize how much you've changed in that you have the ability now to go out to do what feels good. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull some additional clarifiers here. I'm really strongly getting for some of you Aquarians that there is something here around a Scorpio in your life, maybe showing you something around, again, showing you that you are worth more, that you could have more, or that there is, something currently wrong in a dynamic in your experience, maybe a power play. I did get the reading, I think in your 2 months ago, around you guys kind of changing a dynamic, changing like the power struggle, like you were going through a power struggle with someone else, maybe stepping into your own empowerment. And this could be a continuation of that. Like this is like that final kind of like, I'm going to put down the burden of this interaction with someone else. And this could even be from the past. Sometimes we don't realize that we carry the burden of someone else and maybe the failings of someone else, or whatever it can be. This could be even coming from like a previous, like what you did with your parents, and you've always tried to kind of be there for a parent that just couldn't get their life together, or a dynamic from how you grew up, and it's like you can put that down. You don't have to carry that forward into your own life at this point. So we have the Three of Coins clarifying the King of Cups. The King of Cups. So Three of Coins is a card of working with others, collaboration, planning for the future, understanding what you can bring to a collaboration and how others can come in to help you build it stronger. And then we have the Magician. So the Magician is the energy of kind of working with your own magic, realizing that you have the ability to literally, from the magic that you bring. The Magician really speaks to looking at, we all have the same tools that we each as an individual person works with in our life. We all have the material plane. We all have our thoughts. We all have our emotions, and we all have our passion and how we choose to take action. But it's how we kind of blend all those things together that brings about what we want to manifest in our experience. So also, the Magician is card of Gemini. You've got a lot of court cards, which could mean for some of you, this is a general reading obviously, but if this was a one-on-one reading, this would be that there are a lot of people in your life, and this may be a Gemini in your life, or someone who harnesses that kind of energy, and you may be seeing what they're building, or they may be kind of coming in with that energy of, saying, hey, let's build this strong together. And you might be holding yourself back from that. 10 of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Cups. This is, Queen of Cups can be a maternal energy. That's kind of like the loving, unconditional mother. The Knight of Swords is someone who is going to go out there and bluntly speak their truth. It can even be a messenger as well. For some of you, which is very interesting, this may be the month where you get the notification that you're pregnant, or someone in your life is pregnant, because that could be that someone is sharing the news of pregnancy. Now, that could be maybe what is bringing about this change that you want to plan now for. Maybe now you realize in getting that news, there is a broader level of abundance and just physical being that you want to experience in life. You could go from, I lived in my studio apartment for the past 10 years and it's been great. But suddenly now with the news that something is changing on this level, now you're like, wow, now it's time to like get the 2-bedroom apartment, or level up and buy the house with the yard because we're going to have a child that wants to play in a yard. It can be something along those lines. So this could also be something around just some type of news that comes in around, it could even be a mother figure. It could be some around someone in your life. This could be news around like a mother wanting to move in with you, or something along those lines that again gets something moving. Or a change in what this person wants. This can also be a change in what this person wants to nurture. Or for those of you who are not dealing with children and you're not dealing with maybe a work environment, this could just simply be sharing what you love, what your needs are, speaking from that place, and really realizing to yourself that there's something more that you want, that there's something that, yes, you have a lot to be grateful for, but maybe there is that one thing missing, and you have to honor that, because that's what the Queen of Cups does. She loves herself unconditionally, and she honors from an emotional standpoint what is in her cup. What are her needs? What are her dreams? And she shares that with others. She communicates that. So for the Five of Swords, we have the Wheel of Fortune and the Seven of Swords. Interesting. So the Wheel of Fortune coming in on top of the Five of Swords, this really shows that the time is now, that there's something that there's something that Spirit is trying to get you to see, to put down your defense around something, that it's time to, what I'm feeling here with the Judgment card, something you've grown past, you've grown out of. And maybe a relationship now needs to change because of that, because you are different or something. So for instance, Judgment can come up. This is where something happens in our life and we are not the same again. And I use this example in the last reading where it's like, maybe you were a college student and you were, that's what you were. You were a student for 4 years or 8 years or however long you were in college. And suddenly now you graduate and you go out into the world and you're no longer a student. You are now part of the work world. And you can't go back. It's not one of those things where, you can, yes, go back to school at some point in your life and become a student again. But you won't, that part of your life when you were getting that specific degree is done. You've changed. It can be the same thing when we become a parent or a grandparent for the first time. We now have changed. We can't go back. This can be where we've, gone through something that's very difficult for us. This could even be where we go through a health crisis. We battle, something along those lines where we have to, the person that we were before is not the same person that comes out the other side of going through, that kind of experience. But there's something here around understanding that change, honoring how that has changed you and whatever you've gone through, and realizing the Wheel of Fortune is turning right now. There is momentum for something to happen, and yet with the Seven of Swords, this is kind of the self-sabotage. This is sitting there saying, I don't know if it's worth it for me to face this or make a change, honor my emotions. It could literally be that you're just trying to, turn your back on this whole situation. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that there's more waiting for me. I don't want to see that this relationship or dynamic needs to change. And I'm just going to kind of sit here and put my fingers in my ears, so to speak. So it's kind of like stating very clearly you're turning your back on fortune. That something fortunate is coming in for you, and you are kind of self-sabotaging your way out of it, or just not wanting to deal with what's coming down the line, what's coming through for you right now. Because the Wheel of Fortune can also just speak to, okay, this is what destiny has kind of brought in for you right now, and this is what's going on, and you're like, but I don't want to see it. Like, this could be like somebody literally telling you that they're pregnant and that it's time to, move out of the studio apartment, and you're like, we'll deal with it later. We'll start to look at places later. We'll do it later. And it's saying, dude, the time is now. Because that child's going to come out a lot faster than you know. The time is now, and sometimes, opportunities pass us by. So it's one of those things where you might then, give birth to that child, and suddenly now you realize, oh my gosh, that child cries all night long and we have no extra space. And now there is no time. We don't have that ability to move. It's one of those kinds of things that sometimes if we don't make the move now, or we don't see what we need to see now, we might have to go through the whole cycle again. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm just saying, that there is timing to everything in our experience. So with the Nine of Wands, we have the Hierophant and we have the Seven of Cups. The Hierophant speaks to commitments. The Seven of Cups speaks to kind of a lack of clarity around, it's almost like someone who has too many options. It's like, well, we could do this, or I could do that, or maybe this might be great, or that might be great. And sometimes it can get us stuck in this place of indecision, this place, again, of a lack of clarity. And there is definitely a lack of clarity around committing. to something. And I think because there's this feeling of, but if I commit, it's going to be so difficult. It's going to be, I'm exhausted already, and it's going to really exhaust me now. And so I think for some of you, you're just kind of sitting almost in this like daydream type experience of like, well, I know I need to move, but there's just so many options right now. I just can't even make a decision. We could move to the suburbs, or we could move to that 2-bedroom loft in the city, or we could. But instead of committing, because I know moving is going to be hard, I'm just going to kind of stay here. And it's saying, I think the beauty of if you commit, you got all the 7s coming in. 7 of Swords, 7 of Cups, 7 of Coins. This is going to be a month where you question everything. Because the 7s ask you, is it worth it for me to face this? Is it worth it for me to choose this on an emotional level, to feel this? Is it worth it for me on a physical level, 7 of Pentacles, to continue to invest my time and energy and effort into something? So this is a month where this is truly a month of reevaluating everything in your life. Does this make me feel good? Is this something I want to grow? This would be like looking, getting the news that you're pregnant. And I'm just going to keep using that as an example. Getting the news that you or your spouse or you and your partner are pregnant, and you're living in that studio apartment. And now you're looking at everything from a different light. Now you're going to be a parent. Now suddenly you realize, oh my gosh, because of that news, I'm realizing, it's the truth. I don't make enough in my job, and I'm not going to be able to continue to work those long hours to sustain this other person's business, because I'm going to be a parent and I'm going to need to be home at some point. And then all of a sudden you're like, but then if I don't do this, then what do I want to do? Then ultimately, what do I choose and where do I go? And I know this house is too small, the 7 of Pentacles. So I can't keep putting money into this house, but where do I move to build next? Is it the home in the suburbs? Is it the condo in the city with an extra bedroom? But there's something here around realizing that I think there's the fear of not wanting to admit this to yourself, admit that the change needs to happen, because you're afraid it's going to be a lot of effort. I think because you felt you've had to pull the weight for so long that you feel if you truly commit to this, the weight's going to come back on you again. And this time, how you break that cycle is the realization that you don't have to carry the weight of the other person. You simply have to carry the weight of what you want to experience in your lifetime. So if you want a better work environment, then you got to go out there and find it for yourself and leave, this work environment behind. If you want to go out and experience a different home life or a different experience in personal life, then you have to be the one to say, okay, I'm going to make the move. I'm going to be the one that saves and does the work and goes towards what feels like fun for me. And if the other person doesn't want to come with me, or they don't want to, go to the open houses, or they don't want to pack up the boxes, well, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. But I'm not going to do it from a place of I have to do everything myself. I'm doing it from a place of because this feels good, because this is what I want, because this is exciting for me, because this is the new person that I am. And with the King of Coins and the 5 of Coins, there's a disconnect here between what you're truly capable of and a poverty mindset. The King of Coins is someone who knows their value, they know their worth, they know how to manipulate their physical experience, as someone who knows how to invest their time, their energy, and their money. But then the 5 of Coins is creeping in here with this sense of, but I might get left out in the cold. I might not have enough. If I try to invest or level up or do something different, instead of me realizing I'm this, I'm afraid I'm going to be here all alone with nothing. And, at the bottom of the deck over here, there's the Knight of Wands again. It's saying it's time to go out there and live from that place of fire and passion, Aquarius. We are truly finally moving into the age of Aquarius, if you can look at it like that. And it's time for you to kind of live from that place, to be the example of the best parts of being an Aquarius, which is living from a place of uniqueness as to who you are, but showing how that when you live fully from that place and you follow your dreams and you plan from that place and you choose to take action and you kind of leave everybody else's BS to the side and you carry only your one wand, you show how that is actually of greater service to the greater collective, because you are leading by example as to how life can feel fun, can feel free, how everyone who is unique can fit in somewhere. And that's the biggest and best way to be of service. It's also the best way to create a legacy for yourself, to feel like you're in control of what you want to experience, truly, what you want to manifest. Being the magician and having that emotional connection to your life as well. Okay, so I'm pulling a couple final cards here to get some additional advice from Spirit. So I'm pulling an energy oracle card here. Oh, I love it. So we have the third chakra, Archangel Chamuel, number 37, which breaks down to number 10, endings with the number 1 being the new beginning. But the third chakra is your solar plexus chakra. This is your ego, but coming from a healthy place. When our third chakra is in kind of like what you see here, truly in alignment with who we are able to shine. We radiate who we are as that unique individual, as the I. And I think that's really this month, this is getting to that place of personal empowerment, getting to that place of confidence in the self of here I am, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what's not enough in my life, and this is what I want, and I'm going to go for it. I'm going to realize how much I have to be grateful for, and I'm going to go out and start enjoying life on my terms. I'm going to break the cycle of this kind of dynamic right here. I'm going to pull just a couple additional cards just to see what else wants to come out for that third chakra. There's the Five of Swords again. So officially now it has come out 3 times. Yes, there is this lack of wanting to almost to see your own strength, to see your own self. There's a feeling here of getting to a place of being selfish, Aquarius. Sometimes people can look at the ego and say, oh, the ego, that can be negative. It can make you appear selfish to other people, but sometimes we have to be selfish. And it's not selfish to radiate who you uniquely are and to come from that place. It's actually honoring who you are. When we hide our light and we don't go out and we don't share it with the world like the Knight of Wands does, then we lead a life that can sometimes stop us from really, or can prevent us from really seeing where we fit, that purpose, that place, and it can stop us from feeling passion as well, having that emotional connection to our experience. Page of Swords, yeah. You're being asked to go out there with an open mindset. The Page of Swords is very different from the Five of Swords. In fact, it's the complete opposite. The Five of Swords is someone who thinks they know everything, has seen everything. I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear your opinion. I don't want to whatever, just the person who doesn't want to hear it, doesn't want to see it. The Page of Swords is the opposite. This is the curious individual who wants to know more, who realizes we're never going to know everything. And so what else is out there that we don't know about our magic, about if we shine from this place that we're capable of? So this is what you're being asked to do. Shine from who you are, have a healthy sense of self and ego, and start to break down any place you feel that you're resistant, any place that when somebody comes in and wants to say, hey, you're worth more. And you're like, no, I'm not. Or I have to stay here and work at this place forever. Or I have to live in this way. Or I can never become a parent. Or, whatever it is. This is saying it's time to open yourself up. Healthy sense of optimism and curiosity there. Okay, let's pull a Power of Surrender card. This is one of my favorite decks. So we have surrender to creativity and surrender denial. Yeah, denial. I don't want to see it. Okay, so surrender to creativity. Let your imagination soar. Stay open to all creative ideas about how to pursue a dream or solve a problem. And that could be what it is here. There might be a dream coming in and you might say, I don't know how to do that, or it might seem crazy and it might be too much work. And I think that if you can stay in that sense of optimism and curiosity, and you can also look at where you can put down the burdens that are tied to other people, I think there's going to be something that comes in this month that is like that freeing aha. I don't have to carry this anymore. I just have to get on the horse and go and go towards what I want. So it says surrender denial. It says accept people and situations exactly as they are without denying the difficulties. Then you can see things clearly and make the best decisions. So this could be literally when it says accept people and situations exactly as they are. If there is a person in your experience that is difficult to work with, or they don't take action in the way you do, they don't see from your perspective, then you're going to have to just kind of admit that to yourself. And admit that they're going to be them and do what they want to do. And you're going to have to still make that tough decision to say, the time is now for something to come into my life that could lead to a great deal of abundance for me. A great deal of also freedom. Knight of Wands really is about freedom. Freedom to be passionate. Freedom to do what feels good. Freedom to do what feels like fun. And it's not on you to change another person. If the other person doesn't want to come along for the ride, it's your life. Or if the other person doesn't want to grow or whatever it is, it's time for you to grow instead. Again, sometimes we have to lead through example. Okay. So let's go ahead now and pull a final card. Got a nice long reading here, Aquarius. Oh, I love it. So we have Earth Healing, number 38, breaking down to Master number 11, which is that gateway between what is and what can be when we courageously co-create with Spirit, when we step through that doorway. I love it. It's really interesting with this showing, kind of the angelic being handing a child almost like a gift. So let's go ahead here and see this. So it says Earth Healing. You are making a real contribution to the planet through your spiritual journey. Remember this and believe that your needs will be generously met by the Earth and the universe. What you are doing matters and you will be supported. And I think that that's really where this comes through here. The King of Coins and the Five of Coins, King of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. That for some of you, you feel like you're not going to be supported if you try to go out and do what you want to do. And it's saying, no, you will be supported. It says the Earth recognizes you. She sees you as a conduit through which she is fed higher frequencies of light, love, and divine presence. This assists her on the journey of her own evolution. Earth is an exceptionally beautiful and powerful divine being in her own right. Yet she, like every other being, benefits from the assistance of higher frequencies, which offer a loving hand to help raise her vibration and continue her evolution. You are here to have your spiritual life journey in a human body. Part of that process will involve sharing your light with the Earth itself. This may see you take on the role of a healer, guide, mentor, or teacher to others on the path. It may see you doing work with the natural world with various Earth-centered causes such as conservation and animal welfare, organic and biodynamic farming, and ethical food production. It may involve an active prayer life that is ongoing through your day, praying for assistance, compassion, clearing, and blessing when you see an accident on the road, an animal or person who seems to be suffering, or an item on the news that you know needs light and healing. So let's read one more here. It says, from the most obvious gestures to the more subtle, the oracle tells you that you are powerful enough to make a meaningful contribution to the quality of consciousness on Earth. Earth asks you to do your work with quiet confidence and dedication. I think for many of you, there doesn't need to be anything. I think this is just kind of that underlying green light. And it's interesting that there's like a green light kind of coming through here. It's interesting to me. But I feel like this is the green light to go. This is the green light to say, you may fear that you're not going to be supported. You may fear the change that wants to come in. But ultimately, there's a gift coming through for you. And it's almost like the gift of maybe freeing an inner child from within, freeing some aspect of yourself that it's time now, this child isn't going to be saddled with a burden from an angelic being. Instead, it's almost like he's being given this gift to say, open it up. Here's the knowledge. If you're curious enough to read it, if you're curious enough to look, here's the map to the way forward. Here's the map out. All right, I'm going to leave you there, Aquarius. I hope you all have a wonderful month, taking a look at the burdens that you can put down and getting ready, saddling up that horse to go out, make that change, to be free, to fully express who you are, and to understand that, yes, you will be supported as you go out to do that. All right. If you'd like to book your own personal reading, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website to see a list of my services. Obviously, if you like and subscribe to my channel, that is incredibly helpful to me, and I so appreciate it. And if I don't see you on private bookings, I hope to see you again in July for your next Illumination reading. Bye, Aquarius.